MC Noble. What is going on? Welcome to another stream. This is the DNA Aftermath stream. So this is the stream where I talk about what happened at my most recent booking. So if you've not watched these before, I normally like come live or do some form of video where I'll sort of announce where I'm playing, and then what I'll do is if I get any good footage at the gigs, like whether someone records me or whether I get some footage myself of me in action, and then I'll do like an aftermath where I'll come live and I'll just talk about genuinely how the gig went. And you don't see many DJs that do this now. I don't know if this is just something that's just stupid, dead in the water. If if people think like, why do you do such a stupid thing? Like, like who really cares? Like, do you know what I mean? Like thing, but I think it's quite a good thing, and it's quite good to express from the DJ's point of view, like how they sort of like felt a gig went, like playing for a brand, and it's something that I like to do. So I like to come live and sort of give my aftermath, if you like. So DNA Hard at the Cubed nightclub. Now I think by this point we may as well just call myself like a DNA hardcore resident, because I do pretty much play every event, and if I don't DJ, I do MC. So I think it's fair to say by now that I have kind of just become like like a residence to the brand, and they do always have me down if they if they can. Um, so this event happened was very stressful, and it's trust me, don't ever get yourself in a situation that I got myself into. Well, part of it wasn't, well, none of it really was my fault, to be honest with you. But these things can happen, and sometimes it's always, it's like really good to like be prepared for something. So I got booked for DNA, and so did my friend Kenny, and so did another friend of mine called Healy. We was all coming from Hull. So I was going B2B with Kenny. We was doing a B2B set. We planned a set. We planned everything down to the tune, and who's going to mix what tune, and was going to do 2 tracks each, and we was going over this set, and it was sounding crisp. It was sounding sweet. Um, Healy was under a little bit of struggle with funds and things, and she couldn't afford to really come down and do all the usual stop in a hotel, what they usually do. Now I normally go with Layman, so I usually drive back. He don't drink. He keeps it sober. He comes and takes his pictures, and he drives me back a couple of hours drive. But we do it. So I'm used to sort of normally doing that, and we're going time he was going to drive and take it easy and drive back. Now, sadly, on the Monday of the week commencing the gig, he sadly fell under the influence of COVID, and obviously, with him having the COVID, he didn't want to come to the club, and he didn't want to risk, making other people ill, and he knew himself he had thought it was the wrong thing to do, to rock up at a nightclub and mix in front of people and have a drink and shake people's hands and maybe necessarily give people a hug. You do. You see someone you haven't seen for a while, and you say, "Hey, Ogum, hey, how you doing?" So it was a little bit of a letdown, because I'm now back to the point of thinking, well, how am I going to get to this gig, blah blah blah, and then not only that, I'm also that I've now got to put my own set together, because the set that was going to go B2B with, we'd all planned it from Kenny's house, and there was, a lot of them, well, most of them was Kenny's tunes, and I don't own them. And obviously, he was unwell, he was in bed, so I wasn't gonna start asking him to start sending loads of files over. And I just thought, what, it's gonna be easier for me to put my own set together. So to the promoter of the event, I said, look, I'm gonna try my damned hardest to, to still get down, but I've got no B2B partner. So he said, well, I've got the choice. I could find someone, or for whatever situation, I could, I could, do it solo. And I thought, well, who am I going to ask at such a short space of time to do it to do it B2B with me? Is there anybody who I could think who would actually do it B2B? And I just thought it's going to be more hassle than it's worth, waiting for people to reply, waiting to find out answers from people. And then I thought, well, then there's going to be, like another flyer update, and I just thought, do you know what? I'll just do it solo, and I don't mind going solo. I decided that I was going to do it solo. So then I got talking to a friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, do it at the weekend. Yeah, I'll come down. We'll get a hire car." So I was like, "All right, yeah, sweet. Not a bad idea." He said, it'd be good to see you perform and smash it. Not being out to a in ages, like years. So we'll get a car. I'll drive up, and we'll make a night of it, and then we'll drive back, and we'll enjoy the vibe. So I was like, all right, yeah, do that. Never gone to a rave with this guy before, so maybe I shouldn't have trusted him. But I left it at that. Get the hire car. We found a number, found a rental place. He was going to ring him the next day. I'd gone over to my nan's to stay, so I just presumed everything was, top clock tickety boo. I was going to do it Saturday. Then it gets to, Saturday gig day, and I'm thinking, well, I've not heard anything off him. I'm trying to ring him, trying to text him. This is the day of the gig. And then literally, he finally texts back and says there was no hire car. And I'm thinking, well, there's no hire cars available, so why not let me know? So I'm back to well, how am I going to get to the gig? And, it's clocking on, it's Saturday afternoon, the gig's at night, and I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking, there's just no way that I'm going to get to this gig. There's just no way. So I'm even speaking to my friend Lee on the phone, and he's going over to an event in Doncaster tonight. He was getting a train, he was getting a lift back. So I'm thinking, well, this DNA is gonna, I'm gonna have to pull out. There's no way I can get to this booking. So I'm even at the point where I even tell DNA, I'm like, I'm sorry, me person who was driving the hire car is bailed on me. And I was actually, as daft as it sounds, like I was actually nearly in tears when I had to write that message, because I hate letting people down, and because music's my passion. Like if I say I'm gonna do a booking, like I try my damned hardest to get to the booking, and I hate like taking on a booking if I can't get there. Like I don't do it. Like if I know I've got no proper solid way of getting there, like then I don't take the booking. But obviously I took this one because my friend Kenny, we was doing it B2B. It was fortunate that he'd got the COVID, but like I do not like letting people down. And when it comes to gigs, and especially like when I do quite well on Facebook for followers and fans, and then I'm sharing a flyer and saying I'm playing here, blah blah blah, and then I don't show up, because you never know who comes to these events to see you yourself. So it was like a really gutting thing, and I was like, I wanted to, I felt upset. I felt a cunt. I felt like I was letting the team down. And it genuinely put me in a really sort of shit mood. But then they reassured me. They was like, look, it's one of them things. You are a good couple of hours away. Don't worry about it. Blah blah blah. And then it sort of made me feel a little bit better, but I still felt gutted because I'd put this banging set together, and I was excited to do it solo, showcase myself a little bit. And I was just genuinely gutted. I felt like, what I'd been excited for so many days had just sort of like come to a sort of like, real sort of like disappointed ending. And I just wanted to shout at people, like, and just say, like, look, have you got any suggestions? I'm thinking in my head, like, are people just gonna sit here? Like, I've got to get 2 hours to this gig. Like, how am I gonna do it? And then luckily, a friend of my mum's, he'd come up, who's a wagon driver, and I sweet talked him, and he actually offered, if I bunged him in some fuel money, he'd take me to the booking, blah blah blah, take me back so I could do my set. So I was buzzed about that. And then finally there was light at the end of the tunnel, and was finally able to get to the booking. He agreed to take me, which was a big ask because he drives wagons during the week, so he's on the road a lot. So he wants to usually chill like over a weekend, and not then start driving like 2 hours to like another city. But like I say, because obviously my friend Kenny got COVID, it was so like it was normally end up in a situation where I can't get somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a regular thing for me. Like I don't miss that many bookings. Like I don't think I think I've only ever missed about 3 bookings. Two of them, they weren't really what I'd class as a proper booking. It was two that was in lockdown. It was just like there was a little party at like someone's house down south. It was like an event thing, but they was running it from home, and then there was like a pirate studios thing. And I couldn't get to them, but there was only like a studio thing, so I don't really class it as turning a booking down as such. And then anyway, so cutting the story. Then there was the core vibes, not last weekend, but the weekend before. Was it the weekend before? Um, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, it was not last week. So not this weekend, just gone now. The weekend before, I was supposed to be in Birmingham with the core vibes, but there was a little bit of a stuff going on behind the scenes there, and again it left me without a way to get there. But it was just two. So I sadly had to throw the towel in on that one. I was a little bit gutted, but from the promoter side of things, they could have handled things a little bit better. So, like, I didn't feel totally gutted about in that one, but I kind of did at the same time because I was looking forward to like meeting new faces and meeting new people. But they handled the situation like so badly, and it just did not return well in their favour really, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit as well. Which was a little bit gutting. And they should have definitely gone about doing things a different way there. So, but anyway, we're sidetracking. So I don't usually like pull out of gigs unless there is like a serious reason. So when I thought I was gonna have to pull out a DNA, like it was a upsetting feeling because I feel like I was letting people down, and I just felt like no one, because people who don't put events on and people who don't DJ, like they don't realise how serious it is. But like you imagine you're putting a night on, and then it comes to the day, the day of the event, if you like, and it gets to a matter of like hours away just before the event is actually due to start, and then you have a DJ that pulls out. And he's playing he's playing like a prime time spot. I mean, I was like 11:15 until midnight, so it's to what I believe was like it was quite a prime time slot. It was like third night set, which was in my eyes like it was a decent set time. So you pull out like a matter of hours before it starts. The person who's running the event, they've got that massive panic and worry. Who's going to fill that slot? I can't find anyone in time. And I'd hate to be in that situation of putting a night on, and you've got one of your artists that pull out on the day of your event. Now sometimes it necessarily can't be out. Like if someone genuinely falls ill or ends up in hospital, or a car breaks down, like these things can happen. but it's still like a really stressful thing for an event promoter. And I also I don't want to give myself that name in the scene of a guy who can't turn up to his bookings. You know, because if I don't think for 1 minute I'm gonna be able to get there in the first place, like I wouldn't take the booking. But because I know but if I genuinely know that I've got ways of getting there, it doesn't make it too bad. So it's just a general like upsetting feeling. So it did gut me, but obviously things looked up and I was able to go. So like I say, so I get to the club. So let's get on to the good things. So I get to the club, and usual crowd. It's not too busy. It was quite empty at this point, but yeah, I was only there about just after 9:30. I got there, so it wasn't long after it had started. It was quite a good thing. I wasn't too late to the event. There was a couple of people here, some of the other DJs. There was a guy smashing like a mixture of like old school and sort of like new school hardcore. Played like a pretty banging set, to be honest. I was quite I don't know. I was quite sort of it was quite enjoyable to listen to. It was like you was getting a bit of like the old stuff, and then you was getting a bit of the new stuff. And when I say the old stuff, I mean like the sort of like the 90s bouncy techno, and the old like happy hardcore, and then you was getting a mixture of like UK hardcore and then some like newer UK hardcore. So it was quite an enjoyable set. It just sort of took you on a little bit of a journey of like old and new. So you'd have some like throwbacks to think, oh God, I remember this tune, and then you'd have some like new stuff. You had a bit of power in there, So it was genuinely quite a good set. I can't honestly remember to tell you the DJ's name, but then I do know that a good friend of mine, Steve Brown, DJ Slay, comes on and takes the decks next. He's B2B with a guy, and they play an absolute power set as well. Loads of like UK hardcore and just some absolutely wicked tunes. There was a really good tune that he dropped. It was a remix of the Renga rhythm. So when the reggae rhythm starts to sway, it was actually a really good version of the tune. And there was some like really good tunes that went into like D&B drops and things. It was just absolutely belting. Um, so I'm in there enjoying myself. There's another MC that has turned up to the night now that wasn't on the lineup or the flyer, but she'd just come down to show event, and it was MC Emzo. She's quite well known within the scene. She's done a few pretty biggie bookings, and I've heard of her. She'd heard of me, but we'd never met each other. So obviously we introduced. We have a little bit of a chat, and then it's just sort of waiting for my set. And Nick, people are like, you got a mic, Noble, you got a mic, and trust me, this is all I get. People love it when I MC. I must do something right when I MC, but people love it. So as soon as like I said I've got a mic, that was it. It doesn't matter if I had a set time, because I think the MC set times just went to. I think they just went to pot really. So as soon as like I've got a mic, it was like, right, get it plugged in and get on that mic, Noble. And sometimes like the mic can be quite like a nerve-wracking, scary thing. So sometimes I like to just ease myself into the night a bit. Sometimes I like to have a couple of drinks. Sometimes I like to just get sort of settled into the night. And sometimes like I just judge things, and it doesn't always feel like the right time to go on a mic. But then when people are wanting you to go on the mic, you kind of think, well, what do you do? Do you go on the mic? Sometimes like a DJ doesn't necessarily people in the audience that kind of like, yeah, jump on the mic, have a go. So anyway, so I plug the mic in and I have a little go. I'm just sort of easing it up really. I'm not really going into too heavy or too special. So I'm just kind of like, yes, yes, crew, 1, 2, I'm mic checking. Ease in a little bit, and then a drop comes in, and I just come in with the bars, and like people that haven't really properly heard me before, like it blew them away. Like there was just an absolute like really good flow there. So this Emzo had never really properly heard me go before. She'd only just heard of me, We're friends on Facebook, so she's seen me like just announcing a few things, blah blah blah. As you do. And so obviously, she's like watching it for the first time, and she was like buzzed off of it. So instantly after that, she spoke to me, and I got a booking. So I've got a booking coming up in May time. I can't say too much about it, but she's offered me this booking. So there will be MCing at this booking, and I'm looking forward to it actually. And it's nice to to make and meet new friends. Um, so I was obviously quite buzzed, and I was like, you know what, yeah, let's do this. Let's. So we're gonna talk more through Messenger, like discussing dates and a little bit more about it. But the general idea that I got, like, it seems like it's gonna be quite a good event, quite a good night. So I'm quite looking forward to it. In as opposed to that sense. So it was quite good. So you go to a booking and you bag yourself another booking, and like, I don't really know how to explain it, but obviously, like, a lot of things went wrong with this event for me. Like, there was a couple of times where I was like, sort of thinking, how am I gonna get there? But when like it almost feels like, because you keep getting another chance to get there, like there was something like, there was a reason, like you had to go to that event because something's meant to happen. Almost like things are meant to happen, and like things are set up for you in life. Like, it's really weird. Like, I never used to believe in stuff like this, but like I kind of do now. And I felt like there was something that was telling me I had to go to this event. Like, I could not miss it. I couldn't pull out of it. And I do believe, like, now I ended up going to that booking. I bagged myself another booking. I do. I'm just a big believer now that like things happen for a reason, and sometimes like you are meant to like go somewhere for a specific reason, and and you are meant to like sometimes like there's like good reasons why you're meant to go somewhere, and you might not know it until you go. Like, you lose out if you don't go sometimes, and sometimes like if you do pull out of somewhere and you don't go, you don't realize how much you actually do lose out, because like I say, sometimes it's not always the fact of you miss the night and you miss your set, but like I got that other booking. So like someone else who came to that night might have just done something well, and another person might have come up to them and said, I want to book you for this, because they didn't go, they've missed that opportunity, and it's somebody else like myself that maybe got that booking instead. Do you know what I mean? But without realizing it, like, what you don't know doesn't harm you, but like, you never know. So it's just a weird thing. So I got another booking from it, and then obviously 11:15 was my set time. So obviously after Slay, Mr. Steve Brown, who we was B2B with, I forget his name. They come off the decks, and I go on with this set, and I was buzzed about this set. So I'm telling I'm telling like some of my friends there, I'm like, look, I'm gonna be on in a couple of minutes, and they're like, yeah, I'll come and support your set, because I wanted people to see it. I didn't want people missing it really, because I had a good feeling when I was putting this set together that it was gonna go down well. I just felt like it was the right event to drop this kind of set. There was lots of double dropping, quick mixing, so I was very excited for it. So I had to really like go to. I had to really like get people to watch this set. Like, it was a thing I wanted to do. So I got people coming in to watch the set, and I don't know what happened. Like, I honestly don't. But the club, it's only a small club. It's not a massive place, but at one point in my set, it just got packed, and I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it got packed or what happened to make it get packed. But literally, like, no word of a lie, like it was packed. It like there was loads of people that had come in at one point, and it was just that absolutely like wicked feeling. Like, I look up and there's people just absolutely vibing off the set, and I just gave them like so much power in the set, and it was a belting set. It was good. I was buzzed for it. There was a little issue with the mixer in the club, and I couldn't hear the headphones totally, so some of the mixing, it wasn't perfect. Yes, little Barry, what's going on? So the mixing wasn't perfect. I've actually listened back to the recording. There is a few times where I am just slightly double beating, and there was one tune where I was actually off quite badly, um, just because it was so hard to hear, which was a shame because I actually wanted to get that tune like nailed in, but it wasn't like too sort of like unheard, like I don't think people really fully like realised that it was completely out, and it was a hard one because it was like a tune that sort of starts on a vocal, and it was trying to get it in time with the breakdown of another tune, so they'd build up at the same time and then drop at the same time, and because the headphones were so hard to hear, it was just one of them like absolutely like really awful like hard things to do, because normally if I'm doing that at home and I'm mixing them two tunes together, I keep my headphones on and like just hear it through the headphones to do it, but because the headphones were so hard to hear in that club, I couldn't do it. So I had to do it like listening out through like the monitors, and it was just because there's people well and you're in that club environment. It was just so hard to hear that it was in beat. So I was like trying my best, and until they both dropped, you couldn't really properly tell like how much they were in beat or how much they were out of beat. So it was a very hard thing, but I managed to get it in, and people still buzzed and vibed off of the set. And we're human, we make mistakes. But I dropped an absolute filthy set, and it was just a really enjoyable set to do as well. And got a couple of people got videos. I mean, I always say like before an event and a gig, like I want to video more and photograph more, but it's just one of the like when you're deep in, you want to give yourself like the best performance ever, and you don't want to be worried like coming behind the decks and instantly worrying about setting a camera up and oh, make sure I'm filmed, like you just want to go out there and do what you do. Like back in the 90s, like you won't go behind the DJ booth and think oh, get my camera ready. Like there'll have been endless sets, in early 2000s that DJs would have done in the 90s, in the early 2000s, that wouldn't have been recorded, and they'd have played some belters where you'd sit back and think, do you know what, I wish that set was recorded now. But back then at the time, you don't think, you wouldn't have thought out of it. You wouldn't have gone behind the booth and thought, right, let's film it. You couldn't go Facebook Live back then, so it was one of them. Um, you know, so once I get behind the decks, I'm just in that zone to play the best performance ever. And even though, like I do say, I'm gonna film myself, I'm gonna get some footage. I don't always remember to do it, or maybe I do, or I just think, you know what, I'm not gonna, or I just get that in the zone with the set and the music that I just tend not to do it. Um, you know, but a couple of people got some videos of me, which was a nice thing. A good friend of mine, Rachel Phillips, got a nice just over 6 minute video of me. So you hear a couple of mixes, which was good. You hear about two mixes, I think, in total. So I come out of a remix of Zombie Nation into a tune called Breaking Free, which is a belter of a tune. And then I go out of Breaking Free into a tune which is Paradise See the Life. It's the Gamma remix. And then I'm just about to go into the tune after that, which is Top Vibe and Size remix of Pac-Man. But it's Top Vibe's VIP remix, so he's gone over and done another version of it. And basically, just as that is about to drop in, the video finishes. But it's a good video, and it really captured what one thing I do like. It's up on this channel as well. One thing I do like about that video is it captures like how sort of in the zone and how happy I am and how buzzed I am just behind the decks, and how I'm just smiling and dancing around and singing along, and even people can hear me singing at one point, and even though I can't sing, like they're just buzzed because they can just see like how well I'm doing. like, and just how I'm enjoying myself more than anything. Like, yeah, I might be making a few mistakes, on the mixes, but at the end of the day, I'm just jumping behind the decks and I'm just having like a really good damn, a really good damn time. And that's what it's about. I see DJs that will just stand there and they'll just stand there and do what they do. Now and again they'll go like that on a drop, or now and again they'll point to the crowd and blah blah blah. But 9 times out of 10, some of them will just look like they don't even want to be there, and a lot of them just do have that sort of like, I don't know, like it's almost like enthusiasm. And it's the same with like live streams as well. I see it in live streams where you'll have DJs that just won't, I don't know how to say it, but like they don't move around, they don't jump around. And, you're just literally watching them sort of pressing the buttons and bringing the next tune in. And I just think to myself, like, if you are looking like you're enjoying it, it's going to make the stream less enjoyable. Um, what decks was we mixing on? We was mixing, I believe, I want to say there was the CDJ 3000s, but there was either 3000s or 2000s. There was really good, whatever they were. There was really good. But I couldn't tell you what the mix was. I know it was a Pioneer, but I don't know what Pioneer mixer it was. It was quite a modernish one. Like it had all the effects and things on it, and it was a pretty good mixer. But like I said, the headphone port had gone on it. But other than that, it was an absolute belting, piece of equipment. I know the CDJs were definitely different because I've mixed in there before, and there was a pair of decks that had a dodgy cue and play button. But these ones actually worked all right, which was a good thing, because that was kind of my worry as well. Because I was doing some of these double drops and quick mixes. Sometimes you've really got to get the tune on the drop. Like you can't always wait for the next cue point, because it ruins the whole sort of it ruins the whole format of the mix, and everything was timed so well that the set was about 45 minutes long. If I played it in this order that I'd mixed it in and dropped them on all the drops that I dropped them on, which was like a really good thing. So it was belting, really was. So yeah, so after my set, I was absolutely sweating. So obviously I went outside just to get a little bit of air. Um, but yeah, but no, it was quite funny. It was because the person who was driving me, obviously it was his first time coming to the area. Now, obviously I offered him to come in. He was like, no, no, I'm going to stay in the car. It's not really my scene. Now, there's two clubs where we go, and it's owned by the same person. So it's a bit like Hull, where you've got city limits and Vega. So you've got the city limits downstairs, you've got the Vega upstairs. Now, in Leicester, you've got boxed, and then upstairs you've got cubed. Now, we was upstairs in cubed, and there must have been something on in boxed. I don't know what it was. I know there was something on because there was a doorman outside, and there was like lights on in there, and you could sort of just vaguely hear some other music. So I know that was a thing. There was something going on in there. Now, as we was arriving, because like I'm just you point to that building, and you just know it's the whole it's the whole thing. Like, oh, we're just here, blah blah blah. So he must have thought that I was in playing downstairs. Obviously, time gets on a little bit, and he just texts me to see, like, am I about ready to leave? Because we've got to drive. We had to find a filling station, blah blah blah. But obviously, it's a club. It's loud music, so you don't always hear a text going off. So I checked my phone. I have missed it by a little bit. But apparently, he'd walked and he'd come to the downstairs club, and basically he'd gone to the downstairs club, and they tried to charge him like like loads of money, like about 20 quid to get in. But the actual DNA where I was at, it was a free entry, so he could have just come in anyway. And he were actually there. So he'd gone to the wrong club, and then I think he just tried charging him. But we was actually upstairs, not downstairs, so it was quite a funny thing. But yeah, so obviously once I got the text and stuff like that, and it got to about 1:30, I thought, right, I'm due to leave, blah blah blah. So I'm gonna get myself set off. We had to pick my good friend Lee up from Doncaster. He was he was at a he was at like a hardcore night at the warehouse, so it was quite a good night apparently. So we picked him up because he was struggling for a way to get back. At a McDonald's. So me and Lee sort of both spoke about and like how our different nights went, because we're often at the same night together. But this time we was both somewhere different, so it was kind of like, oh, how was your night, and how was my night. So telling him about my night, he was telling me about his night, and then before you know it, we're comparing our nights. Well, we're not comparing as such, but we was sort of like saying, about how well our nights are. So yeah, so it was a really good night. It was an enjoyable booking, and I was very excited to take that booking. It was enjoyable. I'm glad I was able to get there in the end and smash out that set. I just want to give a big shout out to Nick Smith for the booking. It's always a pleasure to play for the DNA crew, the DNA family. It's just enjoyable, full stop. And I love my hardcore, love my bounce, love all me rave tunes. I'm a raver till I die, and I just can't wait to see where things go in the future, where I'll be playing, what I'll be doing. So keep an eye out for like gig announcements, for MCing and DJing. Keep an eye out on my production as well, because that's improving, and I'm enjoying my production at the moment. I'm gonna jump on FL after this stream actually, because I've got a little. I just want to go over some tunes and just have a little bit of a play around, and I've got an idea for another tune as well. But I just hopefully want to see if I can get the vocal for it. Might be a bit easier said than I know I can get a MIDI for it for the piano, but it's a tune that I hadn't even heard for years. And it sounds very similar to another tune, but it's like an old 90s tune. And I thought, do you know what? It would actually be quite good if I could actually redo this tune. So I'm gonna see how easy or how well it's gonna be. How sort of capable I'm gonna be able to do this remix. If I can't get all the parts, it'll probably just either be like a mashup using the piano, or it'll just be one of them where it'll be like, sorry, no, like sorry, no can do, sadly. So anyway, people, that is going to do it. Successful gig. Like, comment, share. Peace out.